Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Welcome back to the Badass Manifester podcast. I am your host, Ashley Gordon, and I'm so excited to jam with you today. I'm coming off such a high. I was at an amazing retreat in Sedona, and I can't wait to share with you all of the breakthroughs that I had, all of the aha moments. And this episode is really going to be about you embracing your full range of expression in the world. We're so confined. We're so bound up as a humanity, and there's so much wisdom in the body, in the way that we express through the body. And I learned so much this past week and weekend in Sedona. I can't wait to share it with you. And we're going to talk about really owning your divine feminine and masculine energies and all of the energies in you. And when I speak to divine feminine and masculine, I'm not speaking in terms of gender roles. I'm speaking in terms of these energies that we all hold within us. And when I speak from this, I'm speaking from my personal experience with these energies within myself. So I just wanted to say that to kick off. There's so much here for me that is being unearthed, unleashed, and it feels so fucking good to just claim my sovereignty and divinity on a level that I haven't experienced yet. So this is definitely a new level energetically for me. And I want to share that with you and what that looks like. So I went to this retreat in Sedona. It was called Unbound, and I knew I had to be there. It was just a knowing inside of me, and I signed up. Just no questions asked. It was just one of those moments. And of course it helps that I went with some amazing, beautiful humans, and we got to share this incredible experience, and I got to meet such beautiful humans. So this retreat was led by a gorgeous goddess. Her name is Madeline Moon. She is just so amazing. She's definitely my newest girl crush, 100%. Shout out, Madeline. And she held just such a beautiful, safe space for all of us. And when we got there, we did a little housekeeping, and then we went right into a practice. And I remember just being in that first practice and thinking to myself, holy shit, this whole room dropped into this so fast. And Sedona is so potent. The land of Sedona is so potent. Mama Sedona is just a healing portal and vortex. So the energies in the room, the land, Madeline facilitating, it was just so amazing how fast everyone just dropped into these practices. And like, when I say it's a practice, I'm not saying it's a yoga practice. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying these are feminine embodiment practices where we started with some breath work, and then quickly it got into embodying these divine feminine archetypes that are within all of us, all of these different goddesses and emotions. And honestly, I was so in the zone that I couldn't even tell you all of the archetypes that we actually embodied and went through. But I just really remember one of the first things that came up for me was halfway through that practice, we had to find a partner. And I remember kind of opening my eyes at this point and looking around and kind of seeing that people were forming partners, and I'm dancing my way around, I'm moving my body, and I see this girl next to me, and we're kind of moving towards each other, but she's not fully facing me. She was kind of felt like trying to avoid me, but she probably wasn't. And all of these thoughts started coming through my mind, like, nobody wants to be my partner. And this girl doesn't even want to be my partner. So what am I doing? Just like dancing, hoping that my partner is going to show up. And so it felt like it was going to be this girl because we were kind of just both in that same general area, but it felt like she was waiting for someone else to come along. And I realized all these stories that I started telling myself in that moment. And I was like, she doesn't want to be your partner. This is going to be awkward. You're not wanted. Like, I'm starting to tell myself all these stories. And when I am in a ceremony, and I believe life is a ceremony, but really a ceremony of retreat, a ceremony, plant medicine ceremony, something of this nature, I am really tuned in to what I'm telling myself, because that's always the medicine that I need in that moment to transcend, to unbound, right? To really release and let go of. And so in that moment, I noticed the story and I made eye contact with her, and we started doing our dance together. And we had to mirror each other in a bunch of different ways. And I retreat because you have to go experience it for yourself. So in that moment, I kind of still had the worry about the partner thing, because then she told us to get another partner. I was like, oh my God, we need another partner. Okay. So the next partner was pretty easy to receive. And so that was great. And I remember still having that fear of like, I hope I can find a partner. Even though everybody's going to have a partner. I don't know why I'm so worried about having a partner. So I'm just noticing these stories in my mind. And then the third time, I was in my one spot and my eyes were closed and I was dancing and I was moving. And I said to myself, the divine feminine doesn't need to go out and get a partner. The divine feminine magnetizes a partner to her. And that was my first really powerful lesson, because when I opened my eyes after I had heard that message, there was a partner right in front of me. Like, she was waiting for me. And it was so fucking cool. I was like, okay. It was super activating for me to have that shift, because it wasn't just about the partner, right? It was about life, right? When we lean back and really embody this divine feminine, this receiver within us, this magnet that we are, just by being who we are, this pleasure station, all we have to do is be. And there's really something to this for me and for all of us, I believe, because I don't know about you, but for most of my life, I always felt like I had to be more than who I was. I always felt like I had to amplify certain parts of myself to be seen, to be liked, to be understood. And on the flip side, I also felt like I had to hide certain parts of myself to be seen, to be liked, to be understood, to be accepted, to be loved, right? So it's really interesting when you do this work, because it becomes super fucking apparent where you hide and where you dim. And that was my work that whole retreat. And I feel like for the rest of my life, honestly. This brings me to my next realization around being a performer. I've always been a performer my entire life. My entire life, I was always in school plays. I was always acting. I was always singing. I was always dancing. And as I got older, I naturally kind of grew out of that, but the performer was always within me. And in my yoga training, I remember very intently and intensely, my teacher would really work this performer out of me. And I remember teaching classes and she would sit in the back and give me feedback. And it would be live feedback in front of everybody. And she'd be like, stop performing. Let go of the performance. Let go of the performance. And I didn't understand it. For so long, I didn't understand. Why is she telling me that I'm performing? I don't understand. And from her perspective, it was if I was people pleasing, or if I was talking to the class in a way that I wanted to be liked, or if I don't really know what I was doing to make her feel like I was performing, but it confused me most of the time because I didn't know what I was doing, quote, wrong, quote. And her feedback to me was always, the less you try and get them to like you, the more connection that you will have with them. The less you feel like you have to perform for them, the more connection you can have with the people on the mat. And I totally get that. But But I'm not gonna lie, that really messed me up because I felt like it took this part of me that was so innocent and it made it bad or wrong. And that wasn't her intention at all, like at all. And that is how it landed on me on a subconscious level, because at this retreat, what was so cool about it was in the very beginning when we were having to state our intention, I turned to Catherine and I was like, okay, my intention is I don't want to overuse my personality. Like sometimes I am the person that's always asking questions or the loudest person in the room. And I didn't want to use any part of my personality for performance at this retreat. I wanted my expression to be as raw and real, as authentic as it possible. And I didn't want to feel like I had to be liked or accepted by anyone in the room by trying harder to be liked or accepted. And I did share that intention with the room. And what I started realizing was that intention, as I moved through the weekend, was part of the problem of why I'm so bound up all the time, why I'm still confined in my expression, because I have these two parts of me, this performer in me and this part of me that feels like performing is bad, that are at odds with each other. And it was like blowing my mind. Like, holy shit. I literally have these two parts of myself that fight, that tell each other, you're too much or you're not enough. Don't be too much to be liked. Don't be not enough because you want to be liked. It's so insane. Because what I realize is that when you perform, you are divinely connected to yourself and embodying something that you fully believe in and you want to express out into the world. How can that be bad? How can that be wrong? If it's true, if it's your truth in the moment. And I really got that full circle at the end when we did this sacred theater, where we were given a little scene to act out that was part of our breakthrough throughout the weekend. And she intuitively picked each person's, and mine was the exorcism of shame. It's the exorcism of all these parts of myself that I feel ashamed about in any way. And I got to act that out and let them die, those parts of myself. And it was so vulnerable and so raw and so real, where I had to really drop the concern of what anyone thought of me, of what I looked like, and do the thing that needed to be done and express it through art, express it through creativity. It was such an honor to witness all of these beautiful women stepping onto the stage to perform their sacred theater and to act out this part of them. And the whole room was just holding this safe, beautiful space of expansion and love. And I was just thinking to myself, wow, there's no judgment here. No one is judging what that person is doing or what they're not doing. All that was there was this insane empowerment and celebration for each person going up and unleashing this next level of expression, embodiment, and range in their way of being. It was just so fucking powerful, and it gave me so much permission to be all that we can be, like the commercial used to say. Be all that we can be. But honestly, we have to commit together to being in our full self-expression and our full range for this very reason. Because if we don't allow ourselves to do that and to be that, then we are not a permission slip for others. And that's exactly what we're here to do. We're here to awaken humanity. And part of that is being a mirror for people to fucking accept themselves and be the bad bitches that we all came here to be. Truly. The more you accept yourself, the more you express yourself, the more embodied you are, and all that you came here to be, and the work that you came here to express and omit and just decode out into the world, what do you think that sets off in every single person that you come in contact with? You're gifting them something with just your way of being. How powerful is that though? Just to know that the more you embrace all of you, the more you're giving permission to the people in your life to embrace all of them. And that doesn't mean that triggers won't come up. Triggers will come up. And what I think is so powerful is this concept that Madeline teaches, that our triggers with our partners, with our relationships, with life itself, the things that we are ashamed of, we get to make art out of them. And when you can make art out of your triggers, you literally physically express it through the body and disrupt the old pattern, disrupt the old way of doing it and being it and living it and saying it. And you get to do it in a way that expresses through you and moves through you that feels like fucking art. And implementing this in my life has been pretty fun and also very hard in the last week since being home, because of course I'm going to be initiated with so many opportunities to make art, right? to act differently to triggers that come up and arise. And yet it's such a beautiful practice to be able to express and experience in this way, and to think of it in this way is just it's radical. It's radical for me personally to say, okay, my husband saying this specific thing really sets me off in the same way every single time. How can I now make art out of that? How can I change my expression in that moment of trigger? How can I creatively come up with a different way to respond that creates a different reaction? So powerful. And to me, that's where the divine feminine is really in her creativity, in her flow, in her essence, as opposed to clinging and holding and forcing energy in a different way. And so it really is a dance that I'm dancing to at this point in this practice that I'm integrating into my life. And something that has really helped me, a really simple shift that Madeline shared at the retreat, was when you are responding to anyone in your life or any situation, or you're making a decision, just go into the body. Go directly into the body, because the body knows. The body freaking knows. So go into your heart. Does your heart feel open and expansive, or does your heart feel closed? And how can you work with that feeling, opening up your heart to yourself, opening up your heart to your partner, opening up your heart to the people in your life, opening up your heart as opposed to closing it, as opposed to contraction, as opposed to hiding energy, as opposed to, oh, that doesn't feel good. Let me just go run away right now, you know? And so that just simple practice of like going right into the body, opening my heart. You can open your heart right now. Think of a situation in your life right now that you have closed your heart to. Bring it up. And as you bring that up right now, I want you to intentionally open your heart. Open your heart to that situation, to that person, and just feel the difference. Feel how much more accessible making art out of the situation can be. We have so much more access to creativity when we open up our heart space. We have so much more access to possibilities, to solutions when we open up our heart space. And that simple practice is like, revolutionary. I even like it better than the question, what would love say? What would fear say? Those are valuable too. I love those questions, but there's something to being in your body and feeling your body opening or closing, because the body holds the key. And that brings me to the next point that I want to make, which is that life is happening through the body. And going back to my yoga training days, I remember my yoga teachers always saying this over and over and over again on repeat. And it was when I was getting up in front of a room, or when any teacher would be getting up in front of a room and we were getting feedback, they would constantly say, life is happening out here. out here, meaning get out of your head and get out here with us. Get out of your head and be present with the people that you're working with, that you're serving. Because when you're in your head doubting yourself or telling yourself a story, then you're not connecting and you're not present. And what I'm saying now is a similar concept, but more so physically focused. So life is happening through the body, meaning working your belief systems through your body, working your negative, limited, uncomfortable thoughts through the body first, working through discomfort and resistance through the physical body, because what we allow ourselves to feel will ultimately be the easiest way to release it, right? Feel it to heal it through the body. And so the other day I was feeling a lot of built up energy, and I went outside and I just let out a huge ferocious scream. I looked around my house, my neighborhood. I was like, okay, nobody's out here right now. I'm just gonna let it fucking rip. And I mean, even if somebody was out there, I probably would have still done it. But it felt so good in that moment to just express that through the body. It was such a powerful release. And then I was able to just move on for my day. And I'm practicing this with celebration too. This week, a lot of amazing manifestations came through. A lot of big things for the business are happening, and it's so exciting. And I feel like I take things in. Like I feel that I'm pretty good at that. And I intentionally paused, I put music on, and I moved the celebration through my body, and I danced and I embodied that celebratory energy, because that shit's potent. That shit's magnetic. We want to feel more of that. I want to feel more of that. So I'm going to pause and take it in, because that is really absorbing the creation itself. And it can work both ways, where if you want to release something that feels sticky or crunchy or resistance, you can move it through your body. And I think there's a lie in manifestation that says that if you feel that negative feeling, then you're going to attract that negative feeling. But if we don't feel it, it can't dissolve. We have to feel it. We have to go there. We have to allow it to move through us so that we're not being a cog in our own wheel. We're not blocking the flow by suppressing all these energies. Think about all the times in your life that you have held yourself back by freaking out, or you've suppressed something that you wanted to say to somebody, and that built up resentment inside of you. And that resentment is still sitting inside of you, because if we don't actually embody it in some shape, way, or form, it's still within us. And so it's so important for me, and I share this with you because hopefully it becomes important enough to you to take care of yourself in this way, to really use your body as this magical tool that it is, this beautiful, sensual, amazing, delicious tool to really heal and release and let go. And on the flip side, to call in, to let in, to soften, to be so magnetic and potent and fucking wonderful, to be the vessel, right? We call our bodies the vessel. Vessels are spacious inside. And the question you can ask yourself is, how can I be more spacious within myself? What do I want to embody and feel through my body right now to release energy that I know is holding me back? Because the body knows. The body knows. And there's so much magic inside of you. It really is all in the body. Every massive transformation that I've ever had in my life has happened first through the body, where I intentionally go in to the body, where I intentionally go into any sensations that I have in the body. If I have back pain, I'll go into the back pain. If I have any sort of discomfort anywhere, I will literally go into that space in my body deeply and talk to it and look at it and feel it and take on an embodiment of it. What does that ache want to say? What does that ache want to express? What does that ache want to dance to? How do your hips need to move? How do you need to take shape in order to release, in order to make space, so that you can be the powerful, badass manifester, magnetic force leader in the world that you came here to be. The retreat got me super present to where I still mean girl myself, where I still hold myself back, where I still greatly doubt myself, my gifts, my light. And it also made me realize where I did myself still to make other people feel comfortable. And at the same time, on the other hand, I received permission to embrace all those parts. I don't know about you, but I want to normalize being so sexy and so professional, and know that those two things can 100% coexist. I want to normalize being wild and free and also having my shit together. I want to merge my good girl and my bad girl and know that they be there. I want to be a hot mom and a badass CEO and a difference maker in the world. I want a badass CEO and a difference maker in the world. I want to be all of who I am all of the time. My 700 personalities. I'm just kidding. But really, this is your big fat permission slip to be all of you, to start getting curious about all these aspects and parts of you that want to come out and play. And it's so interesting because I go to IFS for therapy, which is Internal Family Services, and it's all about parts work. It's all about identifying and understanding all these different parts of who you are. Any belief that comes up is a part, any thought that comes up is a part. And now I'm just integrating it on like much deeper level. And it's so powerful to understand that all these parts of who we are, they have a place within us. And if they go unexpressed, they might find other ways to express themselves that could be harmful in your life. It could be harmful to your relationships. It could be not showing up in the best version of yourself when these parts of you go unexpressed and they don't feel heard. And if we want other people to see us and hear us, we have to see ourselves. We have to hear ourselves first. That was a huge message that came through to me, is if I'm not embracing all that I am truly and allowing my full expression, allowing my range of expression to expand, I'm not really seeing myself. So how could I expect anyone else to see me? And this ourselves. And it's within ourselves. So much fun. Aren't you having fun? I'm having fun. These are all my takeaways and downloads from the Unbound retreat in Sedona. And to say that I feel unbound is true. And I'm very aware of what to do, and I'm willing to do that work. So it's so good. I love life. I love life. I love sharing my life with you. I love being a co-creator of this experience. It's pretty profound, if you ask me. Thank you so much for listening. As always, so much love from my heart to yours. Please feel it. And if you are interested in going to the Unbound retreat, go to Madeline's Instagram and get on her waitlist. Her Instagram is Madeline Moon. And I obviously highly recommend this experience. And she's probably going to have 795 people at her next retreat because it's blowing up. But it really goes to show you that when you are doing work that's from your heart and you know is your purpose in this life, shit's going to blow up in the best way possible. So you listening right now, keep being the badass manifester that you are. And I can't wait. And just a little love tap, if you haven't yet left a review on the Apple Podcast app, please do so. It would mean so much. I really would appreciate it. As you know, myself and my team, we put our heart and soul into delivering you these episodes every single week. I don't miss a week. I really don't. And I love you, and I want to be there for you, and I want to share. So if you could just take a few moments and leave a review, I will give you a shout out on my next solo episode. Thank you so much in advance. Sending you so much love. Woo! We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at ManifestWithAsh. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.